Hey everybody, David here with Mojo, and in this video I'm going to cover a new update that's going to be hitting your Mojo account Friday, November 3rd. That's tomorrow. Now this might be a lengthy video because I have a lot of things to cover. I'm not going to demonstrate everything for the sake of saving some time, so I will do my best to describe everything for you. Here I am inside of a development account. This gets all the goodies before you guys do, so this is how I'm able to demonstrate the various things we come out with each week. So a couple of things. First of all, we didn't do a release video last week or the week before because I wasn't in the office to do them. I apologize for that. So we missed a few things. First and foremost, there was a bug in our system, in our code, that whenever someone tried to make a letter and embed a JPEG image, it wouldn't render in the preview view and it wouldn't print. Only PNG files did. That's been resolved. You can now move forward embedding JPEGs, such as a header or a footer, signature line or whatever, into your letters using Mojo. The second thing is we added the ability to do, I'll go to the data and dialer screen, we added the ability to search for a certain source in your database. So you can now do that, meaning you can go in, you can do a search for the variety of sources you have in your database, and what will present to you in the data grid is everything matching that source. All right, let's talk about what's coming out tomorrow. First and foremost, we have added the ability to cancel out of a callback message, meaning when the dialer, during multi-line dialer mode, gets 2 live answers, we play a callback message. Now, it doesn't happen all that often, but when it does happen, we play a callback message. And then what happens in the system is after you're done with the first call, the reason you couldn't take call number 2, we take a single line and dial back that second person that you weren't able to speak with. Well, up until today, you did not have the option to skip that call. There is going to be a red X in the call box that's dialing out to that callback person. And now, starting tomorrow, when you click it, it will stop that line from dialing and you will resume power dialing. That's the first thing that we're going to talk about that's coming out tomorrow. The second thing is we're adding something called the hang-up notification. And what this new feature is when you're talking to somebody on the phone, we're now going to report back to you when somebody has hung up on the other side, so that you don't waste precious time in your pitch delivering it while there's nobody there. And again, this is one of those things I'm not going to demonstrate, but I'm going to do a great job describing it. What's going to happen is the call box for the person that you're speaking to is going to turn red, and it's going to present the text "lead hung up." And then you know there's nobody there anymore. You can make notes, do whatever you want with the record, disposition it by applying a last call result button, and move on to the next round of calls. So we're again now going to alert you when someone on the other end hangs up the phone. The other thing we did is something minor. In the editor that we use to make letters in single manual emails, we've freshened up with a new editor here. It's a little more powerful. And the merge tags are now in this drop down versus down the right hand side. So it's enabled us to tighten things up. We changed some of the code in the back end. It's quicker, it's better packaged, and it's more efficient. So that new editor is now inside of Mojo starting tomorrow. Inside of the My Data area, you're going to notice something that we've done. If you currently do a lot of data sorting and filtering, whether it's here in the main area or whether you go in to make a sublist. So what does that mean? Here's what we've done. If I were to click on any of these plus buttons in my header columns, you'll see that the edit filter pops up. And on the left side drop down, these are called Boolean operators. We've standardized all of the available columns and any custom fields you may make in the future to include all of the options. Contains, does not equal, equal to, does not equal, starts with, it's null, from, and to. So we've given you the full menu of all bowling operators so that you can slice and dice your data and filter it, as well as make sublists with it using this icon right here on one of your lists with more power. So we're really excited about that. It's always popping up left and right where a client will call into the support line and they want to, let's say, look for anybody with a null phone number or with an area code starting with this or with this name or this city or this zip code, or there's just a variety of different things that come in. You now have the flexibility to do all of that. All right, perfect. So the next thing we did is during the create contact phase, we now give you the option to not only create a source, but also edit and delete them. So there's a couple different places you can create sources for your data. The first one is if you're posting data to Mojo from, let's say, the Mojo lead service or the RedX or Vulcan 7 or Cole information, it's going to automatically come in with a correct source on it. The second place is during a lead file import. You get to choose the source of that data file because we don't know where it's coming from because it's not coming from someone that we have a relationship with. It's a manual import. And in that area, you're able to edit and delete sources as well as add new ones. But during a single contact creation here, you weren't able to do that. You can now do that. You can hover over the source. You can hit edit. It'll change. You can change the name of that and it'll update everyone that's got that particular source, or you can delete it. And of course, you can add a brand new one by pressing the plus button. So that's going to come out tomorrow. All right, let me take a look at my list here. All right, we're back to where I wanted to get to. This is what's going to take the most amount of time during this video. We're releasing a new dialing method called nurture dialing. And nurture dialing is a hybrid of our current click to call. What we did is we took the existing click to call and the power dialer, and by power dialer I mean the dialing bar and all of the buttons in the user interface, and we kind of married them together I should say, and we have a much cleaner way for you guys to nurture dial. Now, why would you want to nurture dial? Well, a lot of you are calling on qualified leads that you kind of want to research a little bit before you actually begin to call them. So you want a little extra time between calls. And with this new nurture dialing, it's a semi-manual way of dialing. So you can call qualified leads this way. You may be brand new to prospecting, or you bring on a staff member that's brand new to prospecting. In the fully automatic dialing method for single and triple line, it's a little overboard. It's a little too much for that person. You want them to focus on quality, not quantity. Well, nurture dialing is where you want to go until they get their skill set to the point where they can just roam free or dial free with our fully automated method. Let's take a look at it. So I've just selected my Mojo training list here, and I'm going to do what we always do, and I'm going to click Power Dialer. Once I do that, you're going to see that there's a new option here under the dialing area. Now, nurture dialing, it's only available with a single line. So this will be a one-line dial, semi-manual, semi-automatic, however you want to refer to it as, and it can only work with one line. So if I were to choose 2 or 3 lines and hit this button, it's going to bark at me. So I know enough to leave it at one line. And as a reminder, this is a semi-manual dialing mode, and it's great for previewing leads before calling, researching a lead or property details before calling. A lot of you have 2 tabs open in a browser, and you want to look at the MLS information and as well as the lead information before you call, so that you can build up that rapport bank, right, and know everything you're going to say to that person. This is great for that. It's a more user-controlled dialing pace. And you'll see what I mean by that in a minute. I won't describe it. I will demonstrate it. And lastly, again, it's only available single-line dialing. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And it's the same workflow with the exception of the splash page. Excuse me. You'll see here that, again, another description is given. If you got here by accident, you can return to the Power Dialer call wizard and choose to go fully automatic. And then there is some descriptive text here with a continue button. And basically, what we're doing with nurture calling is you're controlling when the system dials. There's no automated flow from the one call to the next call, and that's going to give you that, important time, that necessary time to review a lead before the dialer just connects you with that person. You'll still be able to take advantage of all of our call result buttons, and the workflow is very similar to the fully automated method. So once I've digested everything here on the splash screen, I'm going to click continue, and now it's going to put me onto the screen where I need to dial in. And that's what I'm doing.
Please enter your PIN number.
Okay, so I've entered my PIN. Now it's going to log me in, and we'll go through a few quick calls. There are some other things about nurture dialing that we added just so it gives the best experience. The first one is, again, this system's going to require you, this mode's going to require you to move on to the next call on your own. And we leave the call box with the last result, so watch out for that. That's going to kind of indicate to you what happened with that call if there's no connection. What do I mean by that? It'll show that it was busy, that it was disconnected. You get the idea. And yes, unlike click to call, remember what I said, we married power dialing to this click to call and came up with nurture calling. You can drop messages when you hear an answer machine, and the system will not tie up the dialer. It'll move you to the next available line out of 3, and you can begin dialing out, again, nurture calling on a new line while in the background that message is dropped. So I'm going to go ahead and press the start button. Normally, if you're used to using Mojo, the dialer would already be firing off a round of 1, 2, or 3 calls. You can see here, it's not doing that. This user interface is quite a bit different in reality. If you look here, we have call lead, or we have move to next record. Now, in this case, I do want to call this record. Interesting, this record has 2 phone numbers. You'll notice they're both checked off, and one of them has a green background. Now, all the checkbox means is we haven't dialed it yet. And what the green background means is that's the next number, or that's the number that's queued up to call if I were to click call lead. Now let's say I didn't want to dial this number. I could simply uncheck the box, and it goes right down to the secondary phone number, highlights it green, and leaves a checkbox because we haven't called it yet. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and call the first number by clicking call lead. You can see here, it says dialing. We've made a contact, fantastic. All of my usual suspects are here for call result buttons, and I'm going to go ahead and click no contact. Okay, now you'll notice it automatically unchecks this box on the first number, and now it's marked this second number is green. It's checked because we haven't called it. You'll notice I still have my last result up here. So now I'm going to go in and I have an option. I can either click call next number, which is this green one, or I can click next record. For the sake of this video, I'm going to click call next number. We keep the bar over the phone number green so you know which number you're calling. And right now it's dialing a phone number somewhere here in the office. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to X out of that and skip the call so I don't annoy everybody. So now I'm going to click next record. And we just replaced that record. So this demonstrates moving semi-manually through a call session. That previous record I was just calling is gone. Now we're on to the new one. You notice this one just has one phone number. I can click call lead. It begins to call it. I've had adequate time to research the record. It's busy. It says busy. My only option now is to click next record because there's no other phone number. I click next record. It refreshes. It's a little confusing because they're all called Mojo Contact, but I can assure you these are new contacts. And here we go. We have an 860 number here. I don't want to call this person. For whatever reason, I don't want to call it. Let me demonstrate that. I just click next record. Replaces it. I don't want to call this person. I click next record. I don't want to call this person. I click next record. And now I will click next record. Don't want to call anybody here in the office again. That's probably annoying while they're trying to support all you folks. All right, so now I'm going to click call lead. It's going to begin to dial. These are all virtual phone numbers. It's busy because I have it set to be busy in our virtual phone number library. And these are the same numbers you call when you're testing with the Mojo Dialer in your training list. So I'm going to click Next Record. You can see here it's very similar in design to the Power Dialer, but I am controlling the calling flow. And again, this is great for targeted prospecting, someone that's a bit new and you want them to focus not on the button pushes, but on the quality of their pitch and the quality of their delivery and setting appointments. This is a great method for them until they get, they get up to speed on the prospecting side of things. And naturally, we also added this this dialing mode, to our follow-up call area found in the calendar. So if single line dialing your follow-up calls was kind of too fast, required too much anxiety, I guess, to complete it, because you really wanted to get up to speed on the contact before you started dialing that number, this is the perfect method for you. So that's going to wrap up this update. Again, JPEGs, the bug where you couldn't add a JPEG to letters in Mojo, has been resolved. We now have the ability to do a source search in the advanced search, where you can also search property, address, phone number, name, all that fun stuff. We now have the hang up notification. When someone hangs up on you, we now display that in the call line for you, and we make the box red so that you're not sitting there wasting time talking to someone that's already hung up. We give you the ability to hang up on a callback message now, so that, on a callback after the callback message is played, if that's what you choose to do. We've added the ability to delete and edit sources when you're creating a contact. We've added a library of standard Boolean operators across all of our columns in the My Data area, as well as in the sublist creation area, which is going to be really helpful for those of you that like to slice and dice your data. We've improved both the manual email editor as well as the letter creator. And last but not least, we've added a new dialing mode called Nurture Calling. That's going to wrap up this release video. We really look forward to all of your feedback. We got some really cool stuff coming down the pipeline here. And until next time, folks, make it a great day.